Welcome back to Live on 3. Now, just continuing sharing messages from our viewers. They have been pouring in, people expressing various emotions. Some are happy, some are sad, celebrating the fact that it really was a life well lived. And if you'd like to send us messages, we have the address there on the, well, you can either do it through Twitter, Facebook, just send us your messages, or even through YouTube. So we've got a message there: let freedom reign. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. They are human beings, God, and then there was Tata Madiba. Nelson Mandela was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary, politician and philanthropist, president of South Africa. Rest in peace, Madiba. What a great leader, what a tremendous humanitarian, what an extraordinary philanthropist. The world will never have a philanthropist like Madiba. The late Madiba guided the world to human rights endorsement. Now, continuing our discussion here with Moyikwa Sisulu, who is a media entrepreneur, and we were saying just prior to the break that some are saying never again will we see a leader like Madiba. And in fact, some of the messages just came through there, the same thing. And we can't really say that, can we? We've got to be another Mandela. Got to be a few more Mandelas.
In part, my sense is that, it was the circumstance. It was the nature of the circumstance. We came out of such a unique space and such unique circumstances that called on great leaders like Madiba to stand up. Maybe our challenges are not so difficult anymore. Maybe we have to, as a nation, we have to develop different skills, and maybe it will be a bit dull for a few more years after Madiba. We certainly can't say we'll have another Madiba in 5 years' time. I know that many people have said, oh, he's like when Madiba was 34, this man reminds us of Madiba in his youth. It's not likely, because, like I said, it was a very extraordinary set of circumstances that created leaders like Oliver Tambo, leaders like Walter Sisulu, the Moses Kotanes. There's a whole... we tend to forget as well when we speak of Nelson Mandela that he belonged to a much broader collective.
But he himself made it quite clear time and time again that he was not alone.
He never missed an opportunity to say he was part of a team. And I think the media has a part to play in that.
Well, what is their role? Because if we want to take the legacy forward, and that would be the legacy of what? Tolerance, acceptance, understanding?
Well, I think the legacy also is not, it's not at the surface. It's not what you scratch and find. Is that I think in the past week, we've kind of just been talking about the values of Madiba in quite superficial terms. I think maybe there's also a legacy of critical thought. And I think there's a legacy of critical thought in that is how they did things, and that is how this collective and this generation that Madiba came from behaved, is that their skills, their tools of analysis was such that 50 years ago, Madiba did speak of reconciliation. Before, in the Rivonia trial, he fought against.
So you're saying it's not a new thought process. So now we've got to move beyond that.
They knew that if you were going to have liberty for all, and you lived in a democratic South Africa, it wouldn't be a South Africa that was for black people or dominated by black people. Nor would it be a South Africa dominated by white people. But it had to be a South Africa that was even-handed.
Okay, so you're saying we need to go beyond sort of the superficial things like tolerance and acceptance, because it sounds as though it's becoming hollow words. Let's continue the legacy of Mandela. So if we're going to talk about critical thought and analysis and going beyond, what role do the media have to play in that?
Well, I think the media have quite a leading role. I think a lot of people look to the media for information today. I think it's the quickest and easiest ways of consuming information in this era. And the internet is fast, and mobile telephony, Twitter and the likes are fast overtaking. But the media is still essential to molding perceptions around the society we live in. And there's a responsibility, I think, if there is to be critical thought, it has to start within those spaces. There has to be a lot more balance. There has to be a lot more thinking, South Africa, everyone who is in a street burning a tire is a service delivery strike. We don't interrogate the issue beyond what we see superficially. We don't ask the question to say, why are there so many young people burning tires? Is the issue not really unemployment, the fact that
they have time
to burn tires, I've asked friends of mine, I've said, do you know anyone who's asked to take a day off to go protest about service delivery? And no one knows that person. So it's not people that are leaving their jobs to go protest against service delivery. It's people who are frustrated by their circumstances and their situations that are at that tipping point. Now, I think in how the media covers stories like that, there has to be a little bit more analysis. We have to deliver fairer opinions. We have to delve deeper than the obvious. And I think the media has a part to contribute and a part to play in the legacy of that generation of Madiba. I think that is a very important thing that we
And do you
may
think we're
miss.
on track here? What is your vision for the future as far as the country goes?
I certainly, I had an interview on radio this morning, and in my thoughts since Thursday last week is that we aren't on track. But fortunately, this event has sort of jolted us and shocked us into reviewing our position. It's, you know, it's at a, if you look at the three sort of gentlemen of the struggle, Oliver Tambo, 1993, passed in 1993, Walter Sisulu passed in 2003, Nelson Mandela passed in 2013. So everyone is making
What's
note
happening in 2023?
of these 10-year cycles.
Yeah, and what has
But
happened and where it needs to go.
Chris Hani and Oliver Tambo gave us our election date. They were a catalyst. Because of where we were at that time, when Oliver Tambo passed away and then Chris Hani was assassinated not so long after, that became a catalyst in saying we have to commit to the elections.
So this is a catalyst and we have to commit to the future.
We have to commit to the future.
Uyikwa, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Uyikwa Sisulu there. Very insightful, and thanks very much to him for his contribution this evening. Now, before we take an ad break, here is, and many of you will remember this, 7 Seconds Away by Yosundo.